Finally, Pa Ned Nwoko narrates his own side of the story, explaining what happened that night that got a lot of Nigerians talking. He explained how he helped Sammy West, Regina Daniels' brother, in his musical career. He also explained how he helped Regina Daniels' other brother who traveled overseas to study. He assisted him, he supported him. He also explained how he transferred about 125 million naira to Regina Daniels' mother alone, just in the space of 2 years. Now, according to him, this man is a good man. I mean, Pane Nwoko has really endured a lot of things that Regina Daniels has been doing in their house, but because she's a celebrity, he doesn't want to spill he doesn't want people to know what is actually happening. But because Regina Daniels decided to play the game of victim, she decided to frame him up, with her brother and with help of her sister, because that night it's all about Nollywood, according to Ned Nwoko. So without wasting much of your time, he made a lengthy post explaining what really happened before and especially that night. Guys, this is really, really, let me say it is really touching because right now, Regina Daniels is on the wrong side. Because it's not, let me put it in pidgin, no be who first explain the matter na im dey win the case. Yes, Regina Daniels, you are really, really wrong. You have a platform, and because you think that you're a celebrity, people can, you even have about 15 million followers on your IG, and these people, they tend to believe you more than Paned Nwoko. That is because Paned Nwoko doesn't have that platform to speak. But you guys know that billionaires, they don't speak out, they don't complain, they don't have time for all this cloud chasing trend or whatever. Their own is money, business, connection. That is what they. And Paned Nwoko has a lot of things. I mean, as a senator representing Delta North, I don't know, is it Aniocha or whatever? He has a lot of things in his head. So you guys should just allow this man to have this peace. So this man now, Vedapan already begged this man to not to arrest Regina Daniels' mother, which that was what he wanted to do, because she claimed that Paned Nwoko's child died as a result of this. Meanwhile, he died as a result of heart failure. So, but that one, VDM has begged him to not to arrest. But that of Sammy West, now the court has already adjourned the case to 3rd of January next year, which means that Sammy is going to spend Christmas in jail. So, guys, according to Ned Nwoko, he said, this video shows Sammy, Regina Daniels' brother, repeatedly coming to my home and harassing my children and domestic staff, especially whenever I was not around. His visits were often aggressive and disruptive. This is someone I sponsored through his last 2 years at the University of Epoma. I bought his musical instruments, rented and furnished a flat for him in Abuja, in addition to the house I bought for Regina Daniels in Asaba before our marriage for the use of all of them. I also routinely provided allowances to all members of the family, including our mother, Rita Daniel. Indeed, in the last 2 years, I have a record of transferring 125 million naira to her alone. When Regina Daniels started her rehabilitation, there was a clear instruction by the doctors to strictly restrict people, especially her enablers, from having access to her. The therapy was arranged after I noticed troubling changes in her behavior linked to her dependence on certain illegal substances, including going for 48 hours without sleeping and eating every 2 hours. Unfortunately, Sammy, Destiny, some of her siblings, together with a few of their friends, notably Sonia Uche, Montana, among others, constantly defied these instructions. They would come into the house uninvited, sometimes forcing their way in, and would bring her the same colos she was being treated for. Instead of helping her recover, they encouraged her addiction and completely frustrated the efforts of the doctors and therapists working with her. It is important to note that Lawrence, Sammy, his girlfriend NK, Destiny, Sonia, and others also took the same colos as Regina. In fact, Lawrence and Sammy were the ones who first introduced and supplied these colos to her. They were deeply involved in the habit themselves, and rather than helping her get better, they kept drawing her back into the same destructive lifestyle. I do not drink alcohol nor smoke. In fact, I am a vegetarian. So I found these characters and behaviors reprehensible and totally unacceptable. Just 4 weeks ago, I woke up around 4 a.m. and realized that Regina was in my room and on the phone. She was clearly high, and she knows that I do not want her in my room in that condition. I asked her to go to her room, and she told me that Sammy's girlfriend was in her room. I was alarmed and angry because that girl should never have been in my house, let alone around Regina, since she is one of the enablers who constantly bring her the substance she is addicted to. I told Regina that the girl had to leave, and one of my drivers dropped her off. 30 minutes later, Sammy came to my house shouting and demanding that I come downstairs to face him. He said I had no right to ask his girlfriend to leave my house. He was ranting and threatening, waking up everyone, including the children. I eventually went downstairs and had to instruct the security to physically push him out of my compound. The level of audacity was shocking. Without the influence of Kolos, could he have been so bold and disrespectful? They did not stop there. On several occasions, they verbally assaulted and intimidated the police officers stationed at the house for security. The officers were simply following instructions to restrict access for the sake of Regina's recovery, but Sammy and his group would insult and threaten them. Whenever Regina wanted to go out and I was not around, she would become extremely hostile toward the police and domestic staff. She would shout, threaten, and use abusive words, insisting that she must leave the house no matter what. There were at least two serious incidents where she left home in the evening and did not return until the next day. The first incident, she returned in the morning around 9 a.m. When I asked where she had been all night, she casually said she was at a nightclub. When I questioned why she would stay out all night, ignoring my calls and refusing to answer messages, her response was, "You are not my father, so don't ask me where I was." I found out that she was with Cassie, and that Cassie was staying in Regina's house in Life Camp. Cassie is the chemist and supplier of the group. I had to go to Life Camp at 6 p.m. to ask her to leave. With her around Regina, the therapy became a joke. On another occasion, on the kid's birthday, to be precise, I returned home with the kids because Regina said she would stay with her Nollywood friends for dinner. She didn't return until 5 p.m. the next day. I took so much nonsense just for the sake of the kids. I also knew that Kolos had a lot to do with it. As to her reasons for continuing with Kolos, she will always say, just like her mother, that it is a celebrity lifestyle. They will always mention two well-known pop stars. Imagine the pain of a husband trying to help his wife recover, only to have the process sabotaged by her siblings and friends, the very people who should have been supporting her healing. This pattern of behavior made it almost impossible for her to recover. Each time progress was made, they would undo it by smuggling in the same colos. she was fighting to give up. The entire household lived in tension and fear because of their constant harassment, interference, and disregard for boundaries. It will be interesting to know our reasons for the violent behavior in the house the day that Sammy and other siblings came and attacked my staff and security, taking Regina away after doing a video which they posted the next day. Why did they do that video? Why did they post it? They simply planned and orchestrated a script all in my absence, regardless of the fact that my kids were there. They took away many things from my house, including one of my phones, money, and many other items. Everything that happened that day was in my house, in my absence. Nobody was beaten and nobody could have contemplated it. It is blatantly false to say that I sent thugs to beat Regina in another house. The video that went viral was filmed entirely in front of my house by Regina's sister and her friend. It was a pure Nollywood scenario in front of my property in my absence. Sammy should have a life of his own outside of Regina and focus on building his career independently. When his brother Lawrence went to London a couple of years ago to do his master's degree, I personally sponsored him with 75,000 US dollars for tuition and upkeep. I sent him abroad partly to help him escape the toxic environment of Colos exposure and bad influence around them at the time. Out of fairness, I offered Sammy the same opportunity, but he declined, insisting he wanted to remain in Nigeria to pursue his music career. Unfortunately, he has since been arrested several times by both the police and the EFCC. His behavior has become increasingly violent and unstable. What he needs now is total rehabilitation and professional guidance. Otherwise, his aggression and self destruction tendencies will only worsen. This is really, really serious, guys. Like, I mean, it's just like I'm reading Nollywood script. This is just exactly what they act for us. This is exactly what the Nollywood industry dish out. I mean, teach people the act. But look at it being played out before our very own eyes. Before our very own eyes. Ned Nwoko, you're a good man. That's what I can say. You are a good man. See that this is. Let me just say this is the domestic violence. Yes, Ned Nwoko also faced this domestic violence because I don't know how you people want me to explain this domestic violence again because this is just it. This is a pure one. Because anytime we talk about domestic violence, we always think that oh, it is the female here who is the victim. But now Paned Nwoko is the victim here. No wonder Regina Daniels now can't start to explain the whole thing. I mean, you just made 7 minutes video without making any point. You're even trying to make people to think that oh, you are right, Paned Nwoko is wrong. But at the end of the day, no wonder I couldn't. Ah, no wonder couldn't give us a good point. He didn't tell us that he beat you. He didn't tell us that he sent talk. He didn't tell us that. No wonder. Because if you had said that, Paned can even sue you because you must provide evidence. Mm. Because that video, I'm very, very sure that Ned wouldn't be beating her or talk beating her and someone somewhere will not be recording. So are they being those videos were there or there's evidence of Ned beating her or doing whatever, she would have released that video also. Regina Daniels, you are really a disgrace. Like you are really a disgrace. And shame to your mama also, because your mama Nain, she is also the architect of all these predicaments. Anyways, they say they need to advise couple. They say they need to advise adult with a relationship. So Oyo is your case, Regina Daniels. Now that Paned Nwoko has explained All these things. In fact, he has revealed your secret now. I'm very, very sure that you will also, maybe you could not even drop some things for your Instagram story, or you'll be planning to make video tomorrow. Because he has exposed you, he has said a lot of things, what you are doing. I mean, he has guys. This is what I want to end the gist, guys. So let's see if Regina is going to say anything about this. Don't forget to like our videos, share, continue to follow our channel.